what are the things that you absolutely do not skip in your daily routine? What are the things that you do and you make sure you do to program yourself to get the outcome you want?
Yeah, this is a good one because people always ask me like my morning routine. My morning routine has been fucked since having a kid. It used to be like I'd wake up and I'd have 2 hours to myself. My wife I would meditate, and then we'd have like a workout and all this stuff. The one thing that I do every single day, and I never did it for years because I was like, this sounds corny. And I didn't do it. And then I started doing it one day and I was like, I actually feel different. Is waking up and finding like 5 or 10 minutes to just think of all the things that I'm grateful for. Because as a human, psychologically it's proven we have a negativity bias. And, negativity bias basically means that our brain naturally looks for whatever is wrong in our environment. Negative is just a label that humans put on something, like positive, negative, good or bad. But our brains naturally go to what's wrong, how can I make sure I protect myself? And so if I'm going to wake up and my brain's naturally going to go to what's wrong, then it's going to stress me out all day long. I'm going to be anxious. I'm going to be stressed. I'm going to feel on guard all the time. And so I have to wake up in the morning, and it might be just, maybe people don't feel the same way that I do, but, coming from a place where it might be in my DNA, my grandfather committed suicide. My dad was an alcoholic who passed away when I was 15. Maybe it's just like in my DNA to be more like on guard, more anxious, find the bad in things. I have to wake up and I have to like think to myself, what's good? What can I be grateful for? Because I have so much shit to be grateful for. And what I've realized is that if I don't concentrate on what I'm grateful for, I can always find what's bad, and then it makes me anxious and I got to work harder, and then I don't spend as much time with my family. And so it's like every morning and every evening, that is 100% how I bookmark my day for how I want to feel. It's like setting my internal GPS, and then right before I go to bed, how I want to feel before I go to bed.
What's the difference between avoiding sort of negative thoughts and negative bias versus avoiding the problems that you actually do want to solve in your life?
Yeah, it's a good question, because you could think like I call it like toxic positivity, where it's like, everything's good, even though like the house is on fire, like, it's going to be okay. Like, no, get out of the fucking house. Like, I do get it. But the way I think about it is like, there's always things happening in my life. There's always things that are going to be going right. There's always things that are going to be going wrong. The act of focusing on what you're going to be grateful for, in my mind, is the energy and the way that I'll feel while I'm fixing the problems. I've fixed problems, like majority of my 20s when I was in business. Was finding a problem, being really anxious and stressed out about it until I fixed it. And it's like, that's how I thought it had to be. Because I always thought like, it's like success is supposed to be stressful. Success is supposed to be hard. That's what we always hear. And then I just realized like, oh, I can still get things done. In fact, I can usually get them done even better if I come at them from, okay, this is going to be good. I'm good. Life is good. I'm not struggling. I'm not if somebody's listening to this podcast, they're probably like, they have food in their belly, they're sitting in an air-conditioned house or car, they have a few people that love them, they have clothes, we have everything that we need. Of course, we want more. That's just naturally why they listen to this podcast, because they do want more. But like, they could just take a step back and be like, fuck man, life is kind of really amazing right now. And so if I can have that energy as I'm going to my destination, it's like, if we were to drive to Dallas right now, we could be so stressed about everything that's wrong, or we could put on like our favorite music and chill and hang out. It's like, it's just the way that you are on the way to the destination is the way I see it. So all of the problems still exist. It's just I fix them and feel different as I'm fixing them.
Yeah, I like that. I think that there's a general, I know that there's a general fear with high performers of losing their edge by not having that focal point of, I need to fix this. And I like the reframe of, you can still have that focal point and that edge, and also take the time to, while you go into those things, think about all the other stuff in your life that's good.
That is what we were talking about right before the podcast started, which is the majority of people that I work with that are like really, really successful don't know how to turn that part of them off. And they think if they turn that part of them off, all of their success is going to go away. They won't have any motivation. And it's like, what I've found is it's the exact opposite. It's like, you're more productive and less stressed. Like to think about it, like psychologically and neurologically, when you're stressed out, your brain stops sending as much blood flow to your prefrontal cortex, which is where you're literally making decisions from. And so when your emotions are high, your logic is low. So if you're stressed as you're going through and running your business, you're not making the best decisions as efficiently as you could. So if you come at it from a different position, which is like, I'm going to go at it calm, cool, collected, then you're at the point where you're like, okay, I can make decisions quicker. I can make them easier. They're not as stressful to make these decisions. It's like, if you're running from a lion, you're just trying to get away from the lion. You're not thinking about, should I go left? Should I go right? What's the best decision? It's just like, I got to get away from the lion. But if you're on a hike with a friend and you come to like a fork, you're like, okay, well, let's take a second. Do we want to go down to the river? Or do we want to go on top of the hill? It's like, let's go on top of the hill because it'll be a better view. Okay, cool. You get a second. You're not stressed and you're making the decision from a place of like, what do we want to do versus like, what's just the instinctual thing to do and to come from a place of stress. I thought for 10, 15 years of running businesses, that's the way it had to be. And for me, it's just been like trying to deprogram that from myself.
One of the struggles that I have with that personally is sort of the delineation between stress and pressure. And for me, I've never self-identified with the idea of being stressed, but there's no question that I perform better when there's pressure.
Right.
And I think part of it today is that there's complacency amongst so many people, and we can blame social media or the fast pace of society and the way that we ingest information today, or ADD or whatever the fuck you want, right? But people are distracted. And so when there's pressure, it creates a necessary focal point that you have to address. How does that sit with you, and how does that intersect with the idea of, being in a good place and avoiding stress for the sake of logical assessment during performance?
So here's the way I think about it. It's a good question because I've never actually broken it down, but as you're asking the question, I was thinking about it. The way I think about it is this. I always say there's two things happening. There's an event that's happening in front of us, and this is like what I call our observable struggle. Like there's an observable struggle. We all see it. I'm procrastinating. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. Like we see this thing. But it doesn't just happen that way. There's a subconscious story that's happening that's making that be that way. I think stress probably stress is like the observable struggle. I think that the subconscious that's behind it is some sort of fear. And it's like fear like most really successful entrepreneurs that are trying to turn it off in some sort of way, or just in general, even if I'm at like 3 million a year and I'm trying to get to 100 million, it's like the stress is if I take my foot off the gas, I'll lose it all.
Yep.
I felt that way many times. Like I just took my first vacation for 3 weeks, no communication with my company at all. Right? Like none.
That just made me anxious.
Yeah, right. It made me anxious in the beginning. And then I started seeing like, oh, it's not falling apart without me. Right. So there's systems and all those things that are necessary to make that happen. But there's this fear that's behind the stress of it, which is it's all going to fall apart. I'm going to be, most entrepreneurs, like really successful entrepreneurs, are fucked up in some sort of way. And that's what's made them successful, right?
Yeah.
It's like either their dad didn't love them the way that they wanted to, or their mom wasn't around, and they're trying to be successful from a place of like, I'm trying to, maybe they're trying to, like for me, mine was even after my dad passed away when I was 15, still trying to unconsciously earn his love to prove that I was worth it and I was better than alcohol. That was what I was doing, even though the dude had been dead for 15, 20 years. I'm still trying to like prove myself to him. And so there's some sort of fear that's behind the stress, like that usually looks like if I turn it off, I'll lose it all. I've worked so hard, and the hard is actually what got me here. So I can't leave my business. I can't stop working less than 80 hours a week because of the fact that this is the only thing that keeps it running. So there's some sort of fear behind it. Pressure, I think, is actually, I love pressure. I think pressure is a privilege because it shows you that you're doing something that's usually important. And so I think pressure is important for a lot of people. There's two ways to kind of go towards something. And, Tony Robbins always said this, which is like, we only do something for pain or for pleasure. Like that's to avoid pain, to get towards pleasure. I think that people that work with stress are usually trying to avoid pain in some sort of way. There's some sort of thing they're trying to get to, but I think more than anything else, they're trying to get away from some sort of pain of their past. Almost always, like it's like day in, day out. Almost always it's something with parents or the childhood under the age of 10, usually under the age of 7. So that's usually what they're running away from, even at 50 years old. On the side of pressure, I think pressure, if it's done the right way, can actually be a healthy form of the same kind of feeling, but I can turn it off when I want to. So like having a deadline is a good amount of pressure. I read an article probably like 2 or 3 years ago that says Jeff Bezos only makes 3 important decisions a day. Only 3 decisions a day. So I like changed the way that I operated my business where I was like, I don't need to do a million things. I need to make 3 really important needle-moving decisions today. So I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I need to find these, and I put pressure on myself to find them. I need to solve them. I put pressure on myself that by the time I turn off at 5 o'clock, I need to have solved these 3 problems. Yeah. And if I can't get all 3 of them, at least number 1 done. And so I think pressure, if it's come at it from the right way, can actually be a healthy way of getting things done versus like the stress of like it has to be done or something's going to be wrong.
There's a lot there. I think that people all behave differently, and there's tons of nuance to that. Different lifestyles, different backgrounds, different businesses, different day-to-day activities. But I like the framework of what you just said relative to how to control stress and control pressure, which is, and I think about this quite a bit because all entrepreneurs have a never-ending to-do list.
Never is.
Never-ending, literally. And so they are just going to stack more on all the time.
No.
And as the days go by, you keep adding to it. So the notion of being able to get it all done is a fool's errand. And one of the pragmatic approaches is what you just said, which is what are the most important things I can do today? And that's all I'm going to focus on doing.
Yeah.
The other things can get done no matter what. I'm getting this 1, 2, or 3 things done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I find that to be tremendously helpful. It's also still difficult. It's simple to say, challenging to do when you're living in the whirlwind of activity of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I've been saying for years, my to-do list, I've never finished a to-do list in my life. It's never happened. And my wife, we're talking about, we have a 13-month-old son, and so she's like, it's
13 months now?
Yeah, 13 months. Yeah, it's crazy how fast.
Dude, I thought it was like a month ago.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so she's like, it's never ending. There's always something to do. I was like, that's basically what being an entrepreneur is like. The to-do list will never end, but you've just got to go, okay, I'm done for the day. And I've said it for years is since I've never got a to-do list done, I've realized that if I just write my to-do list down and then I take an index card and I write down number 1, number 2, number 3, and I put it in my back pocket and that's the thing I pay attention to all day, like that's the pressure that I put onto myself. The rest of the to-do list, I'll get it done. I'll try to get parts of it done whenever I can. But like if an entrepreneur, what do we at? 200 and something working days, 200, if you only work 5 days a week and an entire year, if I get 250, 260 really important things done, like number 1, my business is going to have quite a bit of movement. But the problem is most of the time we look at the number 1 thing and we're like, fuck, that's so big. Let me go do these other little things just to get the movement going. And none of that stuff, it's being busy versus being productive. And if an entrepreneur can go, what's the most important thing, the biggest needle moving thing in my business to do, every single day, your business will be more successful. If you have employees, if you can delegate the rest, which is a whole other problem that entrepreneurs have, they don't delegate because they think they need to do it all and they do it better than everybody else. So they end up micromanaging, stressing themselves out. But if they can go, all right, like these 3 things are the most important things, I'm going to delegate as much of this list as possible. That's when you really start being efficient, I think, as an entrepreneur.